to the Monday, May 13th. This would be the annual meeting for the Board of Park Commissioners. We're going to start with our annual meeting first, and you're going to facilitate that?
Sure.
Start with a roll
Let's
call,
start with
please.
a roll call vote. Commissioner Leahy?
Here.
Commissioner Frazier?
Here.
Commissioner Clark?
Here.
Commissioner Goebel is absent. Commissioner Murdoch?
Here.
Commissioner Duffy?
Here.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Here.
We have a quorum. All right, as it's the annual meeting, the first order of business is the election of officers, and we begin with the office of president. So I will entertain any nominations for the office of president.
I nominate Kara Kozlowskis for the office of president.
I'll second.
Great.
I'll third.
Do we have any other nominations for the office of president? As the office of president is unopposed, can I get a motion that nominations be closed and that Kara Kozlowskis be unanimously elected to the office of president?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
The meeting is yours.
Thank you. At this point, I will entertain nominations for the office of vice president.
I move to nominate Patrick Duffy for the office of vice president.
I'll second.
Any other?
Are there any other nominations for the office of vice president? If the office of vice president is unopposed, then I'll take a motion that the nominations be closed and that Patrick Duffy be unanimously elected to the office of vice president.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next, I need a motion to approve the appointment of Stephen P. Wilson for the office of secretary, Michelle Parson as the assistant secretary, and Sheila Foy as treasurer.
I'll move to appoint Stephen P. Wilson for the office of secretary, Michelle Parson as assistant secretary, and Sheila Foy as treasurer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, we have our council. May I have a motion to approve the appointment of Tressler LLP as the Wilmette Park District's legal counsel?
So moved.
Well, I think we have to move to approve the appointment of Tressler. Oh, so
Just in case, go ahead.
yes, I move to approve the appointment of Tressler LLP as Wilmette Park District Legal Counsel.
Then I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I'll move to adjourn the 2024 annual board meeting.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thanks for coming.
Very efficient.
Kidding.
At this point, we would
Very
change
efficient.
seats, but we're seated accordingly. Okay. At this point, I will open the meeting of our regular board meeting. Again, for Monday, May 13th. May I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Leahy?
Here.
Commissioner Frazier?
Here.
Commissioner Clark?
Here.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Here.
Commissioner Duffy?
Present.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. First on our agenda tonight is the consent agenda. We have 6 items on consent. May I have a motion to approve consent?
I move to approve the consent agenda of May 13th, 2024, regular meeting of the Park Board of Commissioners, a copy of which is to be attached to and become a permanent part of the meetings of this
I
minute.
second.
Any discussion?
No.
Roll call?
Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Yes.
Consent agenda is approved.
Thank you. Next, we have communications and correspondence, 3.0 on our agenda. We did have a few communications that were in the packet this evening. Those have all been read by commissioners. If you submitted a comment and you are here this evening, you are welcome to speak to us additionally, but you don't have to reread the letter as we have received, read, and published those. Do commissioners have anything to add to this agenda item? Okay. Then that brings us to 4.0, public comment and recognition of visitors. Thanks for all of you that came out this evening. By a show of hands, may I see who would like to speak to the board this evening? Okay. I'll move in this side. We'll go from my right to left. When you come up to the podium, per our policy, you have 3 minutes to address the board. We ask that you respect that time. Steve Wilson will be keeping time just to be respectful for all of us. And the board doesn't interact in these sessions, but we will take notes and try to address questions later in the meeting if possible. And if not, staff will be returning information to people. Thank you.
Great. Hi, my name is Joan O. I've lived in Wilmette for 30 years. I've raised my children here. I take a lot of pleasure and pride in my community, and I have no plans to move. I grew up here. I worked at the Wilmette Beach in the concession stand when I was a kid, and I'm here to talk about the beach. This morning, for the first time, I went down and I saw the new fences that run the entire length of the beach, from the North Beach almost to the Dog Beach. And the view from every bench and every picnic table is now obstructed by the slat fence the whole way. There's not one bench, not one picnic table where you can see the horizon. This morning, as I was walking my dog, I saw a lovely older lady sitting dismayed on one of the benches. She looked really uncomfortable. She was sort of surrounded by the fence on 3 sides. I said, "What do you think?" She said she comes all year round to sit at the beach. She's a resident, and she felt like today she was in a prison. As I walked back down the beach to my car, I saw an older couple. Sorry, I don't like talking in public. An older couple with a handicap parking sticker coming out and trying to figure out where to go to get in. They were very taken aback by their view destroying thing. They don't go on the beach. They sit at a bench or at a table. One of the people in the couple had a cane, and they were like, didn't know where to go to see the view, and were not going to go down the uneven path to get to the beach. I used to bring my mom to that sidewalk when she had limited mobility, using a walker and a wheelchair, and we couldn't go to the water. There's no way we would ever get around that fence. But we would sit and we would chat, we would watch the people passing by, we would look at the changing clouds, and there's now no opportunity for residents or non-residents to do that anywhere along that formerly accessible lakeshore. The Park District has every right to set rules, regulations. I understand that there's been issues. There's been issues back in 2012. I've lived here since the 70s. There's always issues. There has to be a better way to handle it than putting a fence and keeping so much of the population from enjoying the beach. You can correct this mistake. You're smart people. You've spent so much money over the year on consultants and master plans and those beautiful benches. You can figure out a way to solve this problem without making it inaccessible to non-residents, but to residents as well who need it and have no other way. If you haven't been down to the lake since the fence went up, I urge you to do so on a really pretty day like today. See who's down there, not on a busy weekend, but on any weekend day. Sit on one of your gorgeous benches, and you will see that the plan is limiting. It's thoughtless. As far as I can tell, it came up in March, it was approved in April, and now it's done. It's like the defacing of a beautiful work of art so others can't enjoy it, and now we can't enjoy it either. Thank you.
For your comments.
Hi, thank you all very much for your time. My name is Amanda Nugent. I'm a longtime resident, live at 500 Lake Avenue, just a few blocks from the lake. And I walk my dogs. My husband and I walk, my family, we walk along that stretch of the beach at least 5 times a week, if not twice a day. And all year round through the Arctic weather. I'm a huge photographer, and I post a lot of pictures to the hashtag Wilmette and Wilmette Lakeshore Instagrams. And this fence has ruined a really special place. I understand the thought behind it in terms of safety, if that is in fact your number one goal. But there are hundreds and hundreds of miles of pristine beaches in California that don't have fences, don't have fees. Signs say, no lifeguard on duty, it's not safe to swim, and they managed to figure it out. I understand that may be a risk that some people are going to take, and there could be some danger in that, but you can't ruin everybody else's privilege of being here because of some people's mistakes. It's not fair. And this stretch of the beach is one of the biggest treasures of Wilmette. It sets us apart from other communities in this area. And the fact that it is now by fee only is really horrible. I understand that if you want to swim or sail, you have to pay a fee. I get that. But if you want to sit at the beach to watch nature, you now have to pay a fee. And that is unexcusable. It's really shameful that Wilmette and all of our welcoming talk is now limiting any access to the beach except for fee, and not to mention the issues with ADA. We're spending how many thousands of dollars to make Langdon Beach accessible for people who have trouble walking, and yet this is what we're doing down here. It's just so counterintuitive to me. So I really urge the committee to rethink this monstrosity, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Anyone else on this side of the room? Okay. Go ahead. Come ahead, sir.
Good evening, Mark Wermler. I'm starting my clock. I don't want to go over the 3 minutes. First, I hope you go back and redo what you did on the consent agenda for 5.0 because you misspelled my name in the minutes. So I'm hoping you go back there. It's Weyermuller. So I want to be able to Google it 10 years from now and see what I had to say. So with that in mind, again, my name is Mark Weyermuller, and I just came to, I'm a resident of Wilmette, and I came to speak about 7.0 and 8.0. You're talking about buying this Beth Hiller congregation over there on Glenview Road, Old Glenview Road, and the Expressway. So we feel there's not been a lot of transparency and disclosure on this whole deal. I guess you guys are paying like roughly $5.5 million. You're borrowing the money. I'm not sure if Wilmette should be expanding and getting more parkland. I wish it was discussed more. Maybe there should be housing there that could go on the tax base on property taxes. I haven't really heard anybody talk about it. I'm kind of shocked that more people are not here talking about it. I don't know what, several members of the congregation asked me to speak and say, why are they selling it? And there's some mystery to that. So I'm not involved with it at all. But again, I want full disclosure and transparency on this deal. I see you're moving to executive session on it. We call it double secret, like double secret probation. Like, why is it a secret that you guys are buying some land over here? What are you going to do with it? Is the police station going to go there? Is the new pool going to go there? Or is it just going to be open land? Are they going to tear down the buildings? We just kind of want to know. But personally, I'm not sure if we should be buying more land. I was here when they did the MALLINCKRODT deal, which was questionable. There's some rumors that Batman might become the police station. Again, I just want full disclosure and transparency, and I question whether the Park District should be buying that property over there. So that's all I got. Thanks for letting me speak. Gosh, I was under 2 minutes, so I have nothing else. Thanks a lot. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you for your comments. Was there another hand on this side of the room?
Walter Keats. Actually, I'm all in favor of purchasing of the land. I think land is the scarcest commodity here, and 4.7 acres, I think it's great that we're getting it. And I can understand that it's very difficult to have a complete plan for how it's going to be used before you even buy it and before you beat out the competition. So I don't really have a problem with that. But on the other hand, I think the real estate stuff does get very little community input. And the point I've been making, and I sent to everybody, was about the Hoffman greenhouses at the south end of Ridge. That, to me, that's also something that the Park District should be looking at as one of the only undeveloped piece of prairie in this area. And I'm a little concerned with the way the financing came out, because I've been attending most of the meetings, if you all notice, and I didn't all of a sudden this option that has used up all of the debt service extension stuff. And so it isn't clear how one could deal with something that is also could be lost if we don't do something. So it'd be nice to figure out how to do more of it with public input than just, so thanks.
Thank you. Was there anyone else that wanted to address the board this evening? Okay, thank you all. That will close public comment. That brings us to 5.0, staff reports.
Thank you. So you have the written report in the packet. I do have a couple items to to add beyond that. We had some comments here tonight regarding Gilson. I have 3 items touch on related to Gilson. Earlier today, we were informed that Gilson was placed on the National Register of Historic Places. It's an honor. We all know that Gilson is a special place. It's nice that other people recognize it as well. So it is definitely something to be celebrated. So we got that news today, and that's quite exciting. Also, I don't know if anyone noticed, there were some things going on in the sky over the weekend with northern lights being quite visible from the park. Brought a lot of people down there. They all got to capture that moment. And that's just another thing that we should celebrate about our park. I do want to touch a little bit about some of the comments here tonight about South Beach. Just kind of, reviewing where we got to. It is a conversation that has been ongoing, as one of our speakers tonight mentioned. There were problems in 2012. These are not new problems, but the problems definitely have seemed to have changed a little through people's behavior and usage patterns of the beach being different coming through and out of COVID. And as a result of that, we have felt that we need to make some changes there and address the issues and make sure that everyone is not only safe, but also having an enjoyable experience there. And so we have come up with this plan that we are implementing as people are seeing the fence installed down there now. It is a very accessible price, much less than our swim beach historically over by the beach house in the parking lot, with a $5 for residents, $10 for non-resident admission price. Anyone who holds one of our beach passes will also be allowed to enter this area with no additional cost. People who want to walk the water's edge will continue to be able to do that without having to pay a fee. And so we're trying to make this work for everyone. The fence location was chosen after a lot of discussion. There's pros and cons to different options, and this is what we went with. But the thing that I think I want to impress on people the most is this is our first time doing this operation in this location. And so we're going to evaluate it. We're going to evaluate the successes and the failures of it. We're very open to making modifications when we're able to and as needed, because we do truly just want to make as good of a beach experience for people as we possibly can. So we're hearing the input from everybody. We're taking it all into account, and as we move forward, we're going to make changes if we need to. So moving on from that to the actual written report, we have staff reports tonight. As you have heard last month from all the department heads, we have additional staff from our recreation department. 3 of our general managers will be introduced by our superintendent of recreation, Dave Merrill. They're going to speak about some of our preparation for summer beach, pool, and summer camp. So that'll be coming up next. Also looking forward on your agenda, we have 3 landscape plans for your consideration and potential approval. You all heard a presentation from our parks planner regarding these plans, gave some feedback, input, and some changes were made. You have a memo in the packet outlining those changes. So that's ahead on your agenda. And then we have the resolution to make the purchase of Beth Hillel, 3220 Big Tree Lane. And this is a purchase that was approved by the congregation of Beth Hillel by a 93% vote, and one that adds about 4.7 acres to the public land space off the Park District. In relation to that, there is also Ordinance 2024-0-5, which is the ordinance to authorize the sale of the bonds to make the purchase, or the bond ordinance also has in it language where the debt can be used more broadly, if not specific for this purchase. So we always issue this type of debt on a regular basis to support our ongoing capital needs. So if for some reason through the due diligence process anything happens with this sale, that debt can be used as we typically otherwise would. Lastly, you have a surplus ordinance for some old concession equipment from the lakefront, and that completes the items on your agenda.
Steve, could I ask you to comment on why we hold closed session meetings regarding real estate purchase or leases?
Sure. The governing statute in the state of Illinois that outlines the procedures for public meetings is called the Open Meetings Act. And it, in essence, says the business of the district is conducted in an open meeting observable by the public. But within that language, there are a number of exemptions for an open meeting allowing a board to go into closed session. One of them is for the consideration and the setting of a price for the purchase of real estate. And the reason for that is if a public entity were to have to conduct all of those conversations in public, any other potential buyer would then know exactly the thought process and the offer and be able to react, and then it would put the public entity at an unfair negotiating position. So that's why that exemption exists. That's why those conversations take place in a closed session. It's really designed to be for the public good, so the public isn't, the public body isn't forced to overpay because their discussions were open to everybody.
There was one other transparency, although granted, everybody that made comment left so they can't hear the answers to their questions or their complaints. Hopefully they watch on TV, right?
I was going to save it for the lakefront part, but perhaps with respect to Gilson, we acknowledge that the fence being there at all is a change, and that's an adjustment that we all are, as Steve said, we're going to watch that play out, and I appreciate that staff is flexible and willing to evaluate. I appreciate that I've seen as you've responded to public emails that have come in, I've appreciated that you've said, please continue to send me your feedback as the season goes along, and we can make changes. I think now that we've renovated the Lakeview Center, am I correct in remembering that we purchased some additional nice furniture for the deck up there, cleared some of the obstruction of the view? So I might suggest, or just put it out there to the concern for some handicapped or elderly, that there is accessible parking there to get into Lakeview Center, to go into that building in an accessible way, and that deck could be another nice option. There would be no fence obstructing your views from up there. So just a thought. And maybe we continue to iterate around that fence and thinking about the view for people that, as the same way we're not going to charge someone to walk the beach, we might consider how someone can sit and observe the beach, and maybe we can create some other spaces. I'm sure you guys can continue to noodle on that. So the feedback is appreciated for those of you that are, writing in or speaking to us. We're listening, but we're also respecting the safety concerns that have become significant enough that we're taking this step this year, and we'll continue to, lean on staff's best
Judgment.
Thank you.
So my comment about it was that I'm sure that as people approach, whether they're residents or non-residents, approach to try and access South Beach, the kind of what we've been told as commissioners from staff is that if you come and you look like you're walking the beach and you look like you're just going to enjoy the beach and you're not there to swim, you're not there to camp out for the afternoon or whatever it is, they'll let you in. But if you are going down there to swim and camp out for the day, you're going to get charged. I mean, there's a definite difference between just taking a stroll and sitting and enjoying the sun for a few minutes than there is to staying there for a few hours and trying to swim and everything. So I think that discretion will be used by staff, and we trust their judgment, as Commissioner Kozlowski has pointed out.
So that's going to bring us to, we're going to go into staff reports next. Superintendent Solberg, would you like to come up, please, for the Parks and Planning report?
I have notes because it's just so long this month.
It's a lot of great pictures.
You know,
Yes.
it breaks Patrick's heart to not be able to do this at the end of every meeting.
You're welcome to stand next to me and hold my pictures if you want. All right, so Parks and Planning. Community playfields, we were able to color coat the pickle tennis courts at the end of April, early May. After they cured for about 24 hours, we opened up the courts early May, and they have been extremely busy ever since. It's been great to see. So those courts are opened. We did add some additional fencing for some of the gaps to shorten those up so that the balls won't go from court to court throughout the day of play. We were able to squeeze in some seal coating last week. So we seal coated Gilson parking lot, Howard Park. We did the parking lot and the service drive, and we also did K Park. Those last two were lots that we freshly did the asphalt last year. you seal coat within 12 months to help the longevity of the life of the parking lot. So that's why we seal coated those 2 lots. Gilson Park, we put up the South Beach fence. They finished that up on Saturday. Been working closely with the lakefront staff. We've built some, which is going into my buildings area. We've built some guard kind of resting areas. They were able to put their chairs. We've moved some of the buoys. So we're making it easier for staff to work out of those locations with some of the necessities for the beach. Langdon, we did beach cleanup last week on Thursday and Friday. It was absolutely unbelievable to see some of the things that came out of the water. One of the pictures is a concrete base of a fence post that had to be at least 8 feet tall. That was on its angle. So we got a lot of stuff out of there. So we're going to obviously continue to see if there's things that could impact swimming, but we're confident that we are in a much better place than we were just last week. And then the fleet department, we purchased a Maverick for that will replace the C-Max. It's a hybrid, so we purchased that. The Parks Department, so they did some stuff related to the athletic fields. At Hibbard Park, we had a drainage issue with the where the dugout and the spectator stand. So when we'd have heavy rains, the ball field would drain down into this area. So staff worked over the last couple of weeks to try to rectify that issue so we don't have any gravel within that area. They've also done some top dressing, cleaning up within the batting cages. So they're, full swing with sports, doing some fertilizing, some aerating. We started up our irrigation system. So the season has begun. K Park, we top dressed the path. So similar to what we did at Community Playfields, we also did this at Hibbard Park for the warning track. So they bring in the material, they drag it with a ball field rake, and then they compact it down with a roller. So we did that at the path out there. And then if you haven't seen the front entrance, they added a ton of beautiful plants to help give that pop at the front entrance. We started putting in memorial benches. Yahoo! So we have memorial benches that are going in at Gilson Park, and we also put one in that's already in place at Hibbard Park. So that's something we're going to continue contacting people on those wait lists to try to get some of the benches within our parks that are in existing areas that need replacement, memorial benches. At Mallinckrodt, we had about 3 weeks ago, maybe even a month ago, we had an arborist on site who was checking out some of our trees that we had some concerns with. They were 6 silver maples. After some intensive testing, it was determined that the trees were so decayed on the inside that the best method was to remove those. So we removed 6 of those trees about 2 weeks ago, and you'll notice in the updated landscape plans that we did add 6 more trees on top of the original ones that Alyssa was proposing. Let's see, Gilson, we did some cleanup from, we have to have fencing up over the winter. So the sand that's blowing, it stays within the area. They removed that. And then they also did West Park Playground. They added some safety surfacing. So, as it starts to decompose the wood chips, it lowers down, which makes the surfacing not nearly as safe. So we top dress it. So they completed that just the tail end of last week. Building services. So about 2 years ago, we pulled from the cleaning contract. We clean all of the windows in-house now. So the building services team just throughout the year, spring and fall, will clean the windows. So that's something that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. Centennial, there's a pool there if you haven't heard, and we are there regularly these days. But they painted the diving well. They've been pressure washing the liners so that they could fill the pools up. The gutter grates were replaced on the competition pool. And they also completed a PM on the pool boilers, the heaters, so they had to clean the coils and make sure that it's efficiently running. They also built some cubbies for the ice lobby down where you gather to put your skates on. They built a cubby there for storage for the users. Gilson, we replaced the twin furnace and the AC unit within the building. So that was completed about 2 weeks ago. I talked about the guard stands. We are building a third one this week for the third entrance. And they also worked with the lakefront staff to move the boats into place for the sailing beach. Took about 2 days of staff to work with Meg and her people to get those boats out of winter storage. And then last, we replaced the rooftop unit at MALLINCKRODT. Any questions? Is that, you want me to raise the roof going forward? I can do that.
Patrick, do you have anything to
Thank
add?
you very much.
No, we're good. Thank you, Kristen.
I will highlight and appreciate that as much as pickleball had been a topic in the previous year, that was great how quickly you were able to respond to the pickleball players' request to change the fencing a little bit. It seems they're happier. We've seen some positive emails from them, so thanks for moving quickly to find a solution on that one and for everything else. Hey, Dave.
Hello. I'm going to start by doing some important introductions to some new faces in the room and to our team. So first, in the corner back here, I would like to introduce Kathy Chukas. She is our sports supervisor. Kathy has a wealth of experience as a summer camp owner and operator. She is also a huge women's sports advocate, and I think she's probably coached or instructed almost every sport under the sun in her career. So she's been an awesome part of our team. You're going to hear from Caitlin in a few minutes about some of the things that we're doing, but some of the new things that we're doing and new approaches and things that we're taking are coming they're coming off of Kathy's desk. So we are very excited to have her as part of our team. And then next to her is Laura Grunschel. She is coming to us from the education background, most recently, where she has been working in art and theater and operating facilities and all kinds of great things, dealing with the same population that we do on a daily basis. So she is our CFA supervisor and will be taking over all of our fine arts programming. And she also brings a wealth of experience, and we are very excited to have her on our team also. So welcome to the two of you, and thank you for coming tonight.
I'll clap by myself. I don't mind. Welcome. Every meeting's like this.
The bulk of our report is going to come from our three general managers who are here tonight to speak to you. They'll talk in a little bit more detail about the things that we're doing to prepare for the summer. But some things that aren't mentioned in the report, we are working toward, we are continuing our contract with the Fat Shallot at the beach house, obviously. We are working again this summer with the Shark Shack at the concession stand for the pool. So we're working on building, keeping that positive relationship with them to provide that very important service to our patrons when they come and use the pool. So a couple positive things that are moving forward there that weren't necessarily mentioned in the report. I'll entertain any other questions that you might have about anything else in the report. Now, if you have some, if not, I'm going to introduce my team to you and let them show off a little bit about how things are going for the summer. I will say in general, as we're preparing for camps, I'd asked our entire staff to kind of put together a grid of where we're at in terms of what we were budgeted for camp numbers and staff, and then overall provide a little green light, yellow light, red light in terms of their perception on where we're at. They're just general perception on where we're at in camps. And with a handful of exceptions, everything is green. Everyone feels good about where we're at. I know, Mike, you'd asked last meeting what our plans were for camps that maybe weren't showing some of the enrollment numbers, but we've already made calls. We've already made decisions on scaling back staffs there. We've had some camps that were overstaffed and some that were under, and so we're just shifting staff around, and we're really getting to that critical phase where we're going to start plugging staff members into their positions and start training, and these guys will go into the detail of all that, but we are moving and we feel good about where we're at in terms of our planning and everything. One thing that I didn't mention is that, you know, a big part of what we do and where we do it is with District 39 facilities. And since I've been here and I've interacted with District 39 staff, I feel like we're in a very good place with our relationship with them and how we share space with them and how we communicate now. We just recently had a meeting with some of their facility staff about how we're going to plan for the summer. And while the calendar of the way we find out what we get to do and where we get to do it isn't always advantageous for us, They've been very good about communicating with us and working with us to make sure that we can do what we need to do in those facilities for the summer and then into the fall. So thank you to District 39 for being good partners with us as we move into the summer. But I'm going to introduce, and they can come up in whatever order they want, but I'm going to first introduce Megan White, who you all know, who's our general manager of the Lakefront. She can start. But then I also want to introduce Rochelle Cruz, who is our new general manager of ice and aquatics at Centennial. She can go second. And then Caitlin Peconin, who is our general manager of recreation, our blue team, over at the CRC. If you're not aware, we've split our two families in the CRC into green and blue. And Caitlin will talk about the areas that she represents. But we are very excited to have these three also as a part of our team. So, Meg, do you want to go first? Yeah. Sure.
Good evening, commissioners. So I guess I'll start with our full-time staffing update. As you know, over the last couple months, we've had 2 full-time vacancies down at the lakefront. We've been working really hard to get those full, like real hard. And I'm happy to say that we have 2 candidates who have accepted our offers. You know, in kind of having those vacancies, it gave us a chance to look at what those job descriptions were for the 2 open positions, and we did massage those a little bit to allow for equal investment in programs as well as operations. Before, they were kind of very split. And so we felt like adjusting those gave for a little bit more internal collaboration down at the lakefront, more of a cohesive team. And so there were slight adjustments made for those 2 people coming in. So one is a beach supervisor. They're going to oversee kind of our sailing beach, that staff, our main beach, South Beach, all of the lifeguards, as well as a handful of a lot of other things to kind of fill that time. That person is someone who has worked for us for, I think, 6 or 7 seasons in the past. So Emin Jakupovic will begin in about 2 weeks, just in time for Memorial Day, in fact. And then our park supervisor, which will oversee kind of our park patrol, our cashiers, our security staff, a lot of our grasslands, our dog beach, but also our picnic areas, kind of take the lead on our Lakeview Center rentals. That person is coming to us from a little bit further away. They're making a multi-state jump, and they will be starting towards the end of June. So Connor McCormick comes from a park ranger background, works a lot of enforcement currently, wants to get back into the kind of education end of things, and so we feel like he'd be a really good fit. So we're very excited. I'm very excited, but know that it's still going to take us a little bit of time to get those bodies down to the lake. On the part-time end of things, we currently have 177 employees for the operations end. That doesn't include our summer camps. 111 of those are returning, which is a 62% return rate. That's a little lower than what it's been in the last couple of years, but that's just because our number has had to increase a little bit because of those, the staffing on South Beach. We're opening up Langdon. So those kinds of things made that go a little bit higher. Our total number, which brought that retention rate down a little bit. But 62 ain't bad. I'm still pretty happy about that. We kicked off our staff training this past weekend on Saturday with our lifeguards. They start a little bit earlier because they got a lot to learn. And so pretty much for the next 2 weeks until we start, every single night there's a different faction of our people that are coming in, learning specifically what they're doing for their job. And then we do a couple all-staff trainings. So how does everything relate to everybody? So if you ever want to see staff, come on down to the Lakeview Center every single night. We're doing something. Okay. Our sailing beach opened May 4th, so 2 weekends ago. A beautiful weekend to open. We've been there in the past where it's been frigid, so it was a very good weekend. We had lots of people come check in their boats. This year we had 80 spaces open up. A lot of them were families that had multiple spaces and felt like they just kind of wanted to downsize, and so that's a fairly large number of openings per year. But that's the majority of why. And so we were able to get through 258 people on the wait list for those 80 spots. So for everyone out there who's listening, it's if you're on the wait list, it's not a 1-to-1 ratio, right? We don't have one space and we offer it to one and it's done. So that's about a 3-to-1 ratio. So yeah, so we're making some moves on that. As you've heard, South Beach, the fence is up. I don't need to say that again, but I just did. We're going to have 3 designated openings. We initially started with 2 in just putting that fence up. We kind of looked at it and decided that, there's another natural open point in our dunes. So opening a 3rd won't kind of create more damage to those dunes, but it will just be naturally open already. So we are creating a 3rd platform. Christie's crew is kind of managing that, so that there's an extra access point. It was intended to be a potential, but now I think we're making it a firm for the entire summer. We've also hired 5 security staff, specifically for the south end of our property. Traditionally, we have had some of our younger staff members stay later at night. We transitioned at one year to a separate company to do security, and there was just a lack of transfer of information because they were very separate from us. So we brought that in-house this year. We have 5 staff currently to cover hours from 11 a.m. all the way till 1 a.m., and we have them scheduled for 7 days a week. So we think that that'll make a big difference on some of that non-compliance that we have down on the south end. Langdon, Christy kind of already did that. We know that there's going to be a couple more things, I think, in the water, and so we'll kind of just keep an eye on that. That swim area is going to be a little bit smaller, but we're staffed and ready to roll. And then just our general camp status. So we currently down at the lake have 7 camps that are on site. We have an 8th one that's beach volleyball that's kind of managed by our sports people back there. And so in those 7 that are traditionally us, we have 917 enrollments. And so some of those are 8 weeks, some of those are 4 weeks. And so to give you some perspective, that's 1,928 camper weeks. So one enrollment could mean that a camper is enrolled for the entire summer. And so we kind of like to look at it by us as how many weeks, because that gives us a better idea. Staff is all hired. As enrollments came in and throughout the season, they kind of wax and wane. We're going to manipulate some of our staff. So we've overstaffed in some parts, expecting a higher enrollment, and we've had lower than anticipated. And so we're kind of just going to massage that a little bit. And, they might not just be a Great Gilson camp counselor. They might be Great Gilson as well as aquatics. So give them a little bit more to learn, but a little bit more experience on both ends. So yeah, that's all I got. Does anybody have any questions?
I have 2. It's okay. For your beach supervisor, your park supervisor that's joining you later at the end of June, what's your plan to bridge that gap?
Yeah, so I wish there was a better answer than me. So I do have, with that 62% return rate, our staff is really good, and they've been with us. That's just not just a 1-year returner. Some of those have been on site for 3 or 4 years. And so we're really trying to lean on some of them preseason. They've been working over the last 2 weeks, kind of piecemeal, trying to get things out and going. So they're really supportive of kind of where our properties are at. And so they're able to kind of give us a little bit more help. The rest of the district has also kind of seen those vacancies and been stepping up in little ways to kind of assist me to get a lot done. So yeah, we're going to get there.
We're rooting for you.
Thanks.
My second question with regards to lakefront for the camps that you said, the numbers, about what percentage? Are they mostly full? Are they full? At the beginning of the season, there was some public pushback a little bit on some of the price adjustments for a couple of those camps. So I'm curious for perspective. How did those end up selling?
Yeah, so surprisingly, ones that we thought were going to sell out that traditionally have, so our smaller specialty camps like our sailing, we had in prior years at 12, and some of that's just because putting too many kids out on boats at the same time, can be a little challenging. And so we actually staffed a little bit more. We increased that number to 16, and we didn't even need that increase. And so we feel like we've seen some of that happening this year. We attempted to prevent those wait lists from happening, and they didn't. But we have seen that, and I think other departments have seen this as well. We've seen a decrease in our enrollments for the first 4 weeks. And our wait lists are more on the second half of the summer. And I think by us at the lake specifically, it's really just because that water is a little chilly, as some of you swimmers know, right? It's a little chilly in that first month. So I think parents are starting to realize that and pushing those lakefront enrollments towards the end of the summer. So that's where we see those wait lists. And some of those we don't have the capability to increase. So our kayak and SUP camp is a vendor run program. They bring in those vessels, and so it's on a set trailer. They can only bring so many. And so where we did have wait lists, we were able to make small adjustments in our Pathfinders camp because there weren't those limits. But when there's a wait list in that kayak and SUP, we were not able to do that. So I know that was a very long-winded answer to what I hope actually answered your question.
Thanks for the extra detail.
I have a question and a comment. Question: signage for the fencing. Is there going to be any signage to direct people, or?
Yes. So we will have, and it should probably be going up tomorrow. We made a first round of orders, and then we kind of did a second round that's on its way to us. So there will be fence signage all along the way saying protect our dunes, use the entrances to the north or to the south. So that lets them know that there are set entrance points. So those are probably going up tomorrow. And then additionally, we have some A-frame signage stipulating that there are fees now, as well as, your passes can be scanned. So there's a couple different levels of signage as you walk kind of along and then through.
Okay, and then the comment is you sound very busy, and it's very likely that you will have moments where residents or guests at Gilson will ask a lot of questions of you, and I would like you to contemplate with Steve or with us about how you can answer those, but also pass those on to us, either through public comment or whatever. It was a very deliberate, complicated decision, and you are on the front lines, so please do not hesitate to say, hey, I'm just got 1,000 things going on, email Allie Frazier.
Yes. I did get a few phone calls today. And just like you guys, I love talking to the people because that gives me their perspective, right? We don't always get the opportunity to see out of somebody else's eyes. So hearing that is good. But yes, I did, Steve, I chatted with him this morning. So a few of those did make their way to somebody else's desk. But I appreciate that because, yes, we are quite busy and undermanned at the moment in full-time staff. So it is a little challenging to kind of make sure I'm up on everything I can do. So yes, like I said, other staff is definitely helping out. And I appreciate that.
Thank you for the updates.
Well, thank you. Have a good night.
Michelle, you're next.
Hello. I just wanted to start by giving a little bit of an update about this past weekend's ice show. We had 152 participants that took part in 33 different numbers. We sold a total of 985 tickets, which is a pretty good showing throughout the 3 days. Friday we had 342, Saturday we had 347, and Sunday we had 296. So I know Florence was really excited about that. Everything went really well. They put in a lot of time and effort on it, so it was really nice to see all of their hard work come to light. So now as far as the pool goes, so they started filling last Tuesday. Everything looked good, and then I was told that there was the gasket on the drop slide pump was leaking, so they actually drained the pool today. And the gasket is going to be replaced tomorrow, and they're going to refill starting again tomorrow. I've been reassured that it will be ready to go for staff training this weekend. I know that they held staff training Saturday and Sunday over this weekend, as Megan said. Lap swim starts on Monday, so hopefully everything goes as planned with that. To date, we have 81 lifeguards that have been hired, 23 swim instructors. There will also be another training this coming weekend, like I said, and then there'll be another one further down the line in June. As far as the aquatics admission staff, just about everyone is returning. I actually ended up hiring one new person because they will be here for postseason. So that's really helpful because come the end of the season, it's really hard to get people in there when everyone's back to school or back in high school. Weekend public will start Memorial Day. The regular season schedule will start the 10th of June. The schedule is pretty consistent with what it's been in the years past, with New Trier using, some time in the morning, sharing it with the lap swimmers and whatnot, lessons, camp swim, and then public. So everything's pretty consistent with what it's been in the years past. The concession stand will open Memorial Day and be open through Labor Day, like Dave said, with the same vendor that we've had for the past couple of years. So private swim lesson requests started this past Tuesday. I spoke with Sarah this morning, and she said she's had about 30 requests. So once those start coming in, then the head lesson instructors will start reaching out to them to schedule them with the individual instructors. Birthday party reservations also started this past Tuesday. I've had a lot of requests, and then they end up changing. They say, oh, I didn't know I had a t-ball game. Oh, so I have a lot of requests, but they seem to be moving around a lot. So, yeah, so that's pretty much in line. That's all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
How soon is the pool going to be warm enough to swim?
Well, it's funny you ask, because I was out there on Sunday and they were doing the training, and the water had only been in there for a short time, and they said that it wasn't too bad. I don't know, Megan, how bad was it? Saturday to Sunday. Yeah, they said that there was a big jump in the temperature from Saturday to Sunday. So hopefully, I know Matt had to hop in before the heaters were on to take care of some liner issues. So he said it was pretty cold then, but hopefully it won't take too long to get it heated up and ready to go.
We got warm water, yeah.
It's always exciting when the pool opens.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm here to solve all your waitlist needs and wants. Just kidding.
Great opening line.
Well, hopefully we have some good news. It's been really a great pleasure to get to know my recreation team over the last couple of weeks, and all of our prep for camp has been going really well, especially with some new faces that have just come in, hit the ground running, and identified some of our needs. So overall, our general camp enrollment is great. As we've kind of said, that some of our camps are a little bit down, but it's we've made adjustments with staffing, supplies, our space with District 39, and just looking at over everything in general. Camp training is about to come up, so we have 2 days of director training, May 28th and May 29th. And then we have 3 days of camp counselor training, which is just all staff. We have added spots to our CIT camp and to our teen camp, which has been great with looking at the staff that we have, and opened up some additional spaces. And also, hopefully Kathy's still here, we've created an awesome camp, as Megan kind of talked about, with Great Gilson and Pathfinders and teen camp being full. We had our teen camp was completely full with wait lists, so we had made a new camp, which is great. We had some extra space at District 39, so for teens 6th through 8th grade, it's called Teen Leap, which is lead and explore through adventure and purpose. There's going to be service projects, different types of team bonding, leadership, different types of field trips, so we're really excited about that. And yeah, I think that's overall. Kathy's been a great help with that. So yeah, we're just looking forward to the start of camp.
How'd that LEAP program go? Is that filled up already?
Huh?
The new
How's the
program,
enrollment?
the enrollment for the LEAP.
So it just opened last week. That was quite, that just takes a lot to get everything and everybody, a lot of different hands on board to make that possible. So we have about 15 altogether. So the camp runs in 2-week sessions over the course of 8 weeks. So 4 different sessions. So our first session is the strongest right now with 7. So again, it just opened last week. So what we did for that as well is we had a priority registration for everybody in our wait lists, because we didn't want to open up to the public if it filled and we have people on wait lists. It just didn't really seem fair. So what we did is we opened up 48 hours of priority registration. So it hasn't been open up to the public for that long. But we have been doing different promotions, actually just approved some things from marketing today to get that out, different newsletters and e-blasts.
Oh, that's awesome. It's
Yeah.
a great camp. So to have, 7 and then
It sounds
sounds
really-
like another
Well,
8.
when you say it goes to 8th grade, I guess one of the people mentioned, or one of the time periods where it's kind of tough on kids is that time between graduation of 8th grade and starting high school at 9th grade. That there aren't a lot of summer events for kids who are in that age range, the 14 age. And, it's a lot of the new tree offerings are really early in the morning or later, but there isn't that much during the day. So I'm just curious, is the leap is more the cutoff once you've graduated 8th grade, or does that actually go until you start 9th grade?
So the cutoff would be entering 8th grade. So we do have our CIT program for those counselors or staff members that aren't quite old enough to be camp counselors yet, but still want to be involved in some capacity. So we did identify a need with our CITs, and we did open that up for some additional spots because it did have a little bit of a wait list, but I'm currently working with staff to open that up as well.
Okay. But I'm just bringing that up too, that's often a difficult summer, that the summer between 8th grade graduation and starting high school.
Yeah, I understand. Thank you.
Really appreciate that. I do. I had flagged that when I read the packet this weekend as well, that, I love the stories like this where we're looking at the data and we're making adjustments, and you were able to, offer a solution to families that were on the wait list. And so love the creativity behind the department. Welcome to all of your new department, and we look forward to more updates. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that brings us to operations. Superintendent Thomas.
All right. Good evening. Lots of fun things going on in the camp world. So it's fun even for me to kind of just hear all the things that they're talking about in all the detail, because you then just feel like you're still immersed in all the districts. So all those things were really awesome to hear. So a lot of stuff in the board report this past month, but I'll go over some of the higher level things. And then if there's additional questions on anything I didn't cover, please let me know. Project Parks and Play, we are still working with Barry Dunn to get some additional feedback that we gave incorporated into the strategic plan, as well as the different objectives. We are hoping to have them come back out to likely the June meeting, since May meeting for Committee of the Whole is next week. So hopefully they'll be able to come to the June meeting, and we'll continue to get this moving forward and completed for Project Parks and Play Comp and Strategic Plan. For PCI, Public Communications, Inc., they have completed a high-level summary of our focus groups. So we had a lot of great feedback. Some of the key discussion points that they provided us were the discussion surrounding our role as a park district within the community, the programs that we offer, the registration process, and different suggestions for improvements. So they had a lot of really great discussion. We have a high-level overview, but we're meeting later this month to kind of really dig in deep and figure out what all those survey answers and all the focus group discussion means, and how we can turn that into communicating better with our public, making the registration process better for everybody, and just continuing to be transparent. So really looking forward to digging in a little bit more on that. For the Decennial Committee on Local Government Efficiency, we had our second meeting. There are just a few minor edits that we've heard back from our second revision that I'm still compiling and will be sharing out with all of you and our two other committee members from the public. From there, we'll just kind of continue to go back and forth on that until we have a finalized report. And then we'll schedule our third meeting, which will be June 25th. So I heard back from everybody, and that will be our next date, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock. Oh, now where am I at?
It's 6 to 7.
6 to 7, both of those times work at MALLINCKRODT. So once that is finalized and approved, we will be sending that off to the Cook County Board, and IAPD, the Illinois Association for Park Districts, also requested that all of the districts send our reports to them as well, so that they can continue to analyze them and see how each of us are different in our efficiencies to continue to help us create more of them in the future. So once that third meeting is finalized, the committee will be dissolved, and it will be reestablished in 10 years with a new committee member based on whoever's on the board. So get excited. All right. Human resources and risk management. So there was a little bit of a confusion in the staffing report and how we gave it for how many people were actually hired and how many people we're still looking to hire. So I'd like to clear a little bit of that up. So you heard from some of the staff on how many people have been hired, but if you're looking at the actual report and the numbers in the spreadsheet, there are for pool, this was as of little bit earlier, but 86 of those 103 people in the completing onboarding or rehire process, 86 of them are in the system, already been rehired, are active, ready to go. The other ones may be still be finishing their sexual harassment training or needing another document to upload or whatever it may be. So that number is a great number for where we're at right now. For the lakefront, 163 of the 178 listed are hired. So as you heard, they're still already training and everything like that. The people who aren't officially hired may not be starting till later in the season or things of that nature, but it'll all be cleared up as these training processes go through, and they can get any questions answered for the items that we need from them. And then camp, 48 are officially hired of the 233 listed, which sounds bad, but it's not. We've really been focusing all of the hiring efforts around the pool and the beach staff, since they are the ones that start early and start now. So as soon as those trainings are through, Eric has been working really, really hard to kind of push everybody through, recontact them, get all their onboarding stuff completed. So that is the next department, I guess, or position that he'll be working towards. So hopefully that clears up a little bit of those numbers for where we're at hiring, but we're really in great shape. Seasonal trainings are taking place, as you've heard. HR and risk have been, attending those, talking about different benefits as a seasonal staff, safety expectations, guidelines for how to clock your hours in correctly on Paycom so we can pay you, all those fun things. On to marketing communications. So Marcom was a really big help in getting all of the focus group and survey items ready and collecting different feedback, asking different questions, trying to learn what the public needed to develop all of those discussions. So even though PCI led the focus groups and created the actual survey, the marketing team was really imperative in what content was discussed and how we're going to be learning from people. So a big shout out of a thank you to them. The second triannual Explore More will be received in your guys' mailboxes, hopefully starting on Monday next week. May 20th is the start of the delivery process, so we're excited to get that second edition out and to the public. And then the rain outline. So our rain outline, I don't know if any of you subscribe for different items. I subscribed for soccer and get all the different soccer updates, which is just really interesting to see how we use it. We're trying to find a way to continue to be more transparent with the community for what's open, what's happening out in the community. So whether it's a soccer program or it's beach volleyball or it's the pool or it's the beach, just really kind of setting some standards for ourselves and some guidelines for what we're following to try to really promote the information. And we're going to have a whole campaign surrounding signing up for the rain outline, what it does, what it is, all the different extensions and lines that you can subscribe to, so that you can kind of get up-to-date information as soon as there's lightning and as soon as the pool closes. We want you to be able to know, so that you're not getting in the car and traveling over. You're staying at home until you know that the pool's back open, because it's been 30 minutes or however long until we can get back in the water. So we're really excited to be able to give some more information about that. And lastly, sustainability. So Lucy's really been working on the implementation part of the sustainability plan. So the sustainability plan's been approved, and what happens now? So she's getting together with all the department heads and different managers and supervisors to set up some meetings and talk about what is focused for that specific area. We did have a sustainability steering committee. However, there's many more people within the district that need to know what's going on and what role they play in really helping that plan be executed. So she's been working on that. There'll be quarterly reports, and then every year in November, you all will receive an annual report of the entire plan, and she'll go through all of it and let you know where we're at on each of the areas. And that's it about the sustainability plan. And the last thing she did recently, her and I submitted a really fun video to IAPD for their Earth Day, Planet versus Plastics. We were one of only 3 agencies that jumped on that trend and tried to help show the park community what we do as a district to be more sustainable. And we kind of focused on the composting efforts of the block party. So many other things that we do, but that was the one that we chose to focus on. And then she submitted a presentation for NRPA to speak at their conference, and it was such a good presentation. They wanted everybody to have access to it. At least those are my words and what I firmly believe. So she recorded her session with members from NRPA who were able to ask questions and interact with her during her presentation. And then that will be posted in the Online Learning Center in August for everybody to be able to view. You don't have to go to the conference and register. You can just learn from her right there in the Online Learning Center. So that was really cool. So yeah, all things operations. Any questions?
You're the staff liaison for the We Met Foundation, is that right?
I am.
And there are a couple of events coming up, the WOW Swim and
some swim. Yes, the WOW Swim.
The WOW Swim.
Wilmette Open Water is going to be on June 15th, so it's right around the corner. I cannot remember what color towels they ordered this year, but that's always the biggest hit is the different color towels. We've had yellow, orange, red, blue. So that'll be a lot of fun. So if you are a swimmer, it is a very I'm going to use the word non-threatening because it sounds scary to me to swim in the open water for a whole mile. But the way that they schedule it is that you can stand up at any point. That's kind of one of the great things about the way that the sand flows into our beach. And there's a lot of people that come out and you can go fast, you can go slow, and we're all there cheering you on the whole time. So super fun event on the 15th. And then right after that, the next weekend, we have our Back the Bowl Bash, formerly known as the Beach Bash, which many people might know that took place out at the parking lot and on the sand. But this year, we're kind of switching it up a little bit and having it within the Wallace Bowl and having bands on stage at the Wallace Bowl performing and really showcasing that space in a new and different way. You know, we have summer concerts there and things of that nature, but it's going to be a really special way to kind of highlight the bowl and maybe see that the seats might not be as comfortable as you like, but if we are able to preserve the Wallace Bowl and we're able to correct some of the stones so that we're not tripping and maybe put in handrails at some point, trying to find ways to really show people that it exists, bring them out there, and hopefully bring some awareness to that really special place that we have here in Wilmette. So that's on the 20th. Tickets are on sale. There's information on our website, on the foundation's website. So hopefully, if I don't see you guys there, I'll see everybody else who's watching. But yeah.
Nice, thanks.
For the benefit of those watching along or in our meeting, for the Rain Out line, how would one subscribe? Or where do they find information on that?
So there's, if you look at our website, there's a Rain Out line item. I believe it's in the top right corner that you can click on, and it'll show you the different extensions that you can subscribe to. You can figure out if you want to subscribe to it by email or by text. There's a couple different methods depending on how you like to receive your information best. And then in the coming weeks, we'll actually have a campaign putting it out there to be able to like scan a QR code and it takes you right there. We can have people letting us know what other things that they're looking for. And then you always have the option to opt out, and then you can opt back in when something else comes up your way.
So start on the website.
You also have there's a Rain Out app.
Yes, there is also a Rain Out app.
Yeah.
I don't have that, but I just
because you're
signed up online. Yeah.
We got notices when the beach closes.
It's kind of deceiving. It's the Rain Out, but it's a mass texting system. Like I mean, there's a lot of different types of programs out there, I'm sure, but we're subscribed to this one. People are aware of it. They know what it is. So it might be called Rain Out, but we're going to make it our own thing and add a couple other items in there to just continue to be able to provide the information. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now we have Superintendent Foy with the finance report. If I carried a confetti cannon, this is where I would pull out my confetti cannon and launch it at Sheila.
Okay.
Because we have a
I don't know why
rating
you're doing that.
to share.
Yes, which is actually my last point. It was
but I
just start with it. You need to start with it.
So yes, we kept our AAA rating. The kind of even more positive news about that is they've given us some guidance on what could make us lose AAA rating, which we have never been able to get before. So that's kind of exciting. All right, now I'm done. That was my last point. Anyways,
Meeting's over. The best part's over.
I'll make this quick. So obviously, talked about this in the COW last month. Our results through March are $7.4 million surplus. Our budget is 3.8. We have a positive variance of 3.6. 1.8 of that variance is timing. I've already verified it's less than $40,000 now, so pretty cool. There is a $1 million permanent variance on the revenue side. We're tracking that so that we can keep that separate from any other variances that show up on the revenue side. It is related to the deferred revenue entry. Of that entry, $835,000 of that is for capturing some deferred revenue that we had never captured previously. Talked with the auditors about that. Good thing is $1 million is our materiality threshold, so we didn't have to restate or anything. We're just watching that. I'll be watching that and be communicating any numbers above that, okay?
So is that going to show as we do, let's call it a year in review, and we compare this year to last year, you're moving a bunch of revenue from last year to this year essentially, right? So we were only 3 point whatever last year in surplus. Now we're going to be 2 point some million in surplus last year.
Our surplus, I think, from last year, I'm not recalling the numbers right now. I'm like drawing a blank, but we came really close to the 5.7 million that we thought we would get after surplus. That's taking into account that $1 million deferred revenue. And now you're asking, Sheila, how did that happen, right? We had to take into account the funds that we received from the village related to the IGA. That was a little over $1 million. So we had $1 million that was moved because of deferred revenue, but we had $1 million that we recognized because of this contribution that the village made to us related to the IGA. That's not going to ever happen again. This is the last year for the village stuff. So,
but wasn't that already in the performance for last year?
It did not get officially booked until after we closed because we didn't know precisely what that number was going to be. So the number you were looking at the beginning of January did not have that really in it. Now, while the income was up $1 million, expenses were also up $1 million to offset it. So you're coming in at that 5 point whatever number, and it was much better than we thought it would be. There were other accruals that were made, expenses that were not going to be as high as we thought they were going to be because we're getting better about processing invoices more timely. So a lot of that had been captured. It was much better than I thought it would be, and I think we were in within $200,000. And it's funny how when it was over, we thought we were going to have this really low number, and when it was finished, it came in almost at the number that we had budgeted. I think budget was 6.1, and we came in at maybe at 5.7 or 5.8. So you'll see that.
Despite moving revenue and some expenses. Well,
right.
You're not going to move expenses, though, because the expenses are happening.
Right. We're going to pull expenses, though, into 2023. We're just paying them in 2024. But we do that every single year. There was nothing material that had popped related to that process. So, and you'll see all the detail on that. I got the final financials this morning, and there was a mistake in it that affected 17 pages. So I sent it back to them. They'll have me a new copy tomorrow morning. And then I'll email that out to all of you with my summary of what's going on. Yes.
We didn't say that.
So all the stat stuff has been updated. I got all of that from the village last Wednesday or Thursday. So they got everything from me on Friday. And I got a draft this morning that just needed to be fixed. It's all in Adobe, and it would just take me so long to finish it. It probably wouldn't be done until tomorrow morning anyway, so they're going to go ahead and get that out. Okay? All right, that was my second comment. I have been meeting with the rec supervisors talking about their budgets and the things that we're looking for to try and stay on top of where our revenue targets. Are we going to hit our revenue targets? If we're not, let's make sure we don't hit the expense targets. And one of the ideas that had come up is we can pull reporting from RecTrack, which is our system that kind of, houses all that information on what enrollment looks like. Right now, I have everybody taking a look at what their budgeted enrollment is, and then we'll be able to map and see if budgeted enrollment is higher than actual or vice versa. And now that we've done camp billing, it'll be a little easier to take a look and see where the dollars actually are. But I think if we could do this for all of our programming going out to the end of the year, we'll see where we are on soccer, some of our bigger stuff, just like camps. So we're kind of still working on getting that all together. So we'll have a better idea. And then once we know what that is, we can constantly refresh that dashboard and know where we are. So that's the idea that had come up in the last 2 weeks. With respect to capital, there's not much of a variance. I think that's just by accident. We spend the money when we can, and we try and guess when we're going to get things done. Sometimes things get done sooner, sometimes they don't. The detail on the capital is provided. I said the final draft financials will be distributed tomorrow morning. And LNA will be at the COW next Monday. All right. The preliminary official statement, and that's our document that talks about the debt that we're intending to sell. That took a lot of time during the month of April, but it has been completed and has been posted since May 7th. As of this morning, we have 4 bidders on the debt. I don't have any information on what that is, but the sale occurs tomorrow, and we're expecting that we would probably have more bidders, so that would be kind of nice. And this is where I said we kept our AAA rating with Moody's. They did comment that our reserves are smaller than the districts we get compared with. But then again, my comment has always been, well, we are not managing money for a living. We are investing our money into the village. And so we, want to keep smaller reserves. And one of the comments I had made when we were looking at this 2 years ago was maybe a AA rating is our cost for that freedom. But they seem to be fine with our reserves and what we're doing. So AAA it is. And again, I have some guidance now on minimum reserves. So that's a positive thing. And that's it. Anybody have any questions?
Savvy gas purchase.
Sorry?
Well done on the gas purchase.
You know what? Again, sometimes you get lucky. I was really nervous when Russia and the Ukraine, and
you're just sitting there.
I got talked into a contract when stuff was at 84, and I was like, all right, I can do 57.5, and I have been not really pleased with that decision. Now I'm pleased with the decision.
Great.
So, now we didn't get I don't think we got anything great on electric, but I think we got a really good deal on the gas. So, any questions?
No thanks on the cicadas to that comment in your report as well.
I know, she does such a great
Lest you
job
know
with
that we read it.
Yes, that's it.
Thank
Great.
you very much.
Sure.
That concludes staff reports for this evening. Moving on to Agenda 6.0 in our unfinished business. First topic is the consideration of landscape plans. Yes. Are we having any further presentation on that? No. Fantastic. So the information is in the packet. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve the landscape plans for MALLINCKRODT, SHOREWOOD, and Forest Park.
I second.
Any discussion on this topic?
Just very, very briefly, I'm quite excited to see the Oak Savanna and Mallinckrodt. Very excited.
Nice when ideas brought to the committee are put into motion. Okay, we'll have a roll call.
Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski?
Yes.
Landscape plans are approved.
Next item on our agenda has dropped off, but I'll continue this way. The consideration of the resolution for the purchase of real estate. May I have a motion?
This is where I get to read. Consideration of resolution 2024-R-1, a resolution authorizing the purchase of a certain real estate commonly known as 3220 Big Tree Lane, Wilmette, Illinois, and approving the terms and authorizing execution of a real estate purchase and sales contract in connection therewith.
Second.
Discussion on this topic.
My comments really quick on it were I think this is going to be fantastic for us in the long run as a village. this board may not even be together by the time we know what we're doing with this property, but anytime that the Park District has the opportunity to purchase a large parcel of land, it's a personal opinion, and I think most of the board agrees with this, we need to seriously consider it, because we're in a very mature community with very few options to supply the amenities that the village residents request, whether it's open land or other facilities. So very excited to have this opportunity for the village. And for anybody that might question the dollar amount that we're spending, I would say in 10 or 15 years, you look back and you might feel like we stole it. So I think, again, this is a great opportunity for us as a park district moving forward.
And I would echo all of those comments and pick up on a comment that one of the residents said earlier tonight, questioning the purchase of Mallinckrodt, and he didn't say much about it, but I think that was a fantastic purchase for the Park District. I think it was a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and I hope we're going to look back at this and look at it as a once-in-a-generation opportunity as well. And I'd like to commend everybody on this board really seeing that opportunity and acting on it. I think there were probably past boards who would have gone through a process and decided if they didn't know exactly what they were going to do with it, they didn't feel like they could act. But to Commissioner Duffy's point, this kind of a property doesn't come up very often. And the fact that everyone worked together and we're getting this across the finish line is just phenomenal from my standpoint. So thank you to everybody.
I would also echo those thoughts. I think this is a rare occasion and momentous that we have this opportunity. I would also add that it is a tax-neutral transaction from the village's perspective. That comment was brought up earlier. Since it was already a religious site, it was already a non-taxed entity versus acquiring parkland in Wilmette, which is so developed, as difficult as it is. But this wasn't a situation where we took a patch of houses, which would have brought tax revenue into the village and converted it. This was already a non-tax location, which is going to now continue. So from that perspective, I think that's a win, disagreeing with the comment that was brought forward in public comment. And that's something to celebrate, and that we thank the congregation for choosing us as the buyers. This property, almost 5 acres, will stay in service to all of our community for hopefully perpetuity. So I think this is very exciting. I'm excited to take this roll call. If there's no further comments.
All right. Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Emphatically, yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Yes.
Resolution is approved.
Next item. Next item of new business. We got to pay for said property. We have a motion for 7.2.
So ironically, I will move for consideration of ordinance 2024-0-5 and ordinance providing for the issue not to exceed $5.5 million general obligation limited tax park bond series 2024 for the payment of land condemned or purchased for parks, for the building, maintaining, improving, and protecting of the same and the existing land and facilities of said park district, and for the payment of the expense incident thereto, providing for the levy of a direct annual tax to pay the principal and interest on said bonds, and authorizing the sale of said bonds to the purchaser thereof.
I'll second it, despite my feelings.
The motion's been moved and seconded. I'll open the floor to discussion on this topic.
I have a couple of very brief comments. First, if anybody would like to take a look at the packet, if you're looking for a cure for insomnia, you're welcome to read my dissertation on public finance in this particular decision and how we're going about funding it. Again, in my notes and what I said earlier, I'm ecstatic that we're purchasing this property. I personally believe there are better ways for us to fund it. And if you're interested, you're welcome to read all about it, and happy to talk to anybody in the future. But that's really all I have to say on the subject.
So I'm going to reiterate my comments from the committee of the whole meeting. I don't believe, first thrilled, again, that we're having the opportunity to purchase this. I just don't think this is the way that we need to finance this. So my belief is that we can get some short-term interest-only financing and allow the income that is being generated from the tenants in the facility to pay the interest while we decide what we're doing there, and then wrap the purchase price along with whatever else we decide to do there into financing, longer-term financing at that point. I just disagree with the way that we're funding this, but I'm very excited that we're purchasing the property.
And it took me about 5 pages to say what Patrick just said, so thank you.
Yes, but you did so incredibly articulate and from your iPhone. And I just want to echo what you both said. I mean, we had this conversation, 90% of this conversation was done at 2 committee of the whole meetings, and I appreciate both your positions. It's largely philosophical, and I was struck by the fact that we're disagreeing respectfully on such a big item as indicative of a lot of what maybe the community doesn't see, right? This is the first anniversary of my year on the board, and personally, it's tremendously fulfilling, in part because you all hold me accountable, and I have to be well-reasoned and prepared. And this is one of those instances where it was an incredible discussion, and we've reached a consensus that perhaps isn't either your favorites, but we're all enthusiastic about where we're going with it. So it's just my 2 cents. So
Speak to your position.
Oh, and I fully support this motion as is.
I kind of want to add is that as we don't know what's going to be happening with the land, and actually personally I kind of would like to see it turned into green space and taken down. So that kind of, I think, Mike, one of your arguments was that this is potentially a source of new revenue, and that the bonds should be debt certificates, but we don't know that. It may just be a playground. We may just take down the building and build. I would actually like to see more green space. There really isn't a lot of green space on the western part of Wilmette, and that's kind of what I would like to do there. So I think because there's just so much unknown, and this is a piece of parcel land that will be for the benefit of our community, and I think the community should have a their own what's the phrase? Input. Well, no, they should have they should have a stake in it. I mean, they should have a stake in it. So.
Well said. I'm ready to vote. I will just add that I'm in support of the motion as is as well. We've probably spent 5+ hours over the course of 2 or 3 committee meetings with Andrew Kim, our advisor from PMA, explaining in very great detail with lots of color charts and presentations, which folks can go find in our packets from those previous meetings to follow along. At the end of the day, there are multiple ways this transaction could be financed, which is a testament to the position that our staff has kept us in, that previous boards have managed the finance of this district to a surplus, to a strong position that puts us at the state with the highest possible rating and the ability to have several ways of funding this. And so I do feel that this is a potato type of decision, that there are multiple outcomes which would yield the result, which is acquiring the property. And there's different formats. At the end of the day, I am inclined to defer to the option most preferred by staff and recommended by our advisor, because the staff will be paying on this and working to manage to the finances beyond most of our tenures on this board. And so that really, at the end of the day, with several good choices on the table, is why I'm landing with the proposal as it stands. So thank you, everyone, for your comments. Let's take a roll call.
Commissioner Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
No.
Commissioner Duffy?
No.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Yes.
The ordinance is approved.
So that brings us to section 7.3 of our new business, which is consideration of a surplus ordinance. May I have a motion for that one?
I move to consider surplus ordinance 2024-0-6, an ordinance authorizing the disposal of certain surplus property owned by the Wilmette Park District.
I'll second.
Is there discussion on this one?
I kind of frightened me
Roll call,
once the
please.
popcorn
Commissioner
maker.
Leahy?
Yes.
Commissioner Frazier?
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yeah.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Yes.
Ordinance is approved.
Thank you. Item 8 on our agenda is adjourned to closed session. May I have a motion for that?
I move to adjourn to closed session to review minutes of prior meetings lawfully closed under the Open Meetings Act for the purpose of review, approval, or release of such minutes in accordance with Section 2C21 of the Open Meetings Act, and for the discussion and appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of a specific employee of the district, including hearing and testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the district or against legal counsel to determine its validity in accordance with Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act, and for the discussion of the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the Park District, including meetings held for the purpose of discussing whether a particular parcel should be acquired, as well as the setting of a price for sale or lease of property owned by the public body in accordance with Sections 2C5 and 2C6 of the Open Meetings Act.
And I'm going to second and note that I think my motion was tougher than yours, even though everybody made such a big deal
When
about your
people
motion.
moving in the background.
I just think it's a kind
Any
of an
discussion?
initiation.
Roll call.
Yes.
Commissioner Leahy? Commissioner
Yes.
Commissioner Clark?
Yes.
Commissioner Murdoch?
Yes.
Commissioner Duffy?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowskis?
Yes. Adjourned to closed session.
All right, you're